Hey everybody, so this is Oliver, and Oliver will give you his background, but I don't know anybody is intelligent when it comes to the Thundershrooms or the therapeutic effect of healing mushrooms, and he's going to give you the lowdown. Oliver?
Yes. Hi. Well, okay. I know plenty of people smarter than me, on mushrooms.
I know, but I don't.
Themselves.
Well, I said for me.
Yeah. Well, I'd say the mushrooms actually themselves are the smart ones. So we are lucky that we've been able to discover them, and inside them, as I explain a bit about how they work, I think you'll maybe agree with. There's this of natural wisdom that nature's most powerful. I guess all things in nature have their purpose, have their potential. But with mushrooms, it's a potential of a really powerful effect. And the reason at the big level is because mushrooms are from the kingdom of the fungus. So, in the kingdom of life, we've got 6 kingdoms. There's animals, plants, fungus, bacteria, and 2 other really small ones. But the key thing to remember is that mushrooms are not a plant. Mushrooms are a very complex life form. If you ever, there's a show on Netflix, a free documentary called Fantastic Fungi. And there's a lot of programs which document just how intricate and complex this kingdom of life is. So there is, I believe, 1 billion species of animals on the planet and less than a billion types of plants. There's only like 700 million or so species of plants, but there's over 9 billion species of fungi. So the kingdom of the fungi is by far dominant at the biological level as far as number of diversity of species, more than animals and plants. So it makes sense for our Earth to have the most powerful, the most smartest kingdom of creatures to be fungi. And so that's really where we start. That's the starting point for why are mushrooms different. Like we talk about, in a lot of what we learn in BraveHeart Nation, especially about diet and conscious eating and conscious nutrients. We're really talking about a lot of stuff from the plant world. And the plant world is very beneficial to us, has so many phytonutrients for us to benefit from. But they're very simple in the fact that the type of things we find inside plants are very simple molecules. They maybe have a few effects, and if we compare that to, say, fungi, the molecules we find inside fungi are very different, and they're much more complex, and they're much more powerful. You may have seen videos recently where scientists or just enthusiasts, they take wires and they plug them into different types of mushrooms. And if you plug these wires into different mushrooms, they can generate a sound which shows that the mushrooms are communicating via some type of signal. So the mushroom is a higher life form than the plant, although not as fully complex as the animals that we recognize walking around on 4 legs. So that's why we start with the mushroom, just to give you a very big, why are we not talking about herbal medicines? Why aren't we talking about leaves from the jungle? Why specifically, what separates mushrooms? Well, from the biological perspective is they are very different. They're much more potential, they have much more potency, and the things, they're much more complex. And so the benefit they deliver to humans is much more diverse and much more reaching. So for over 2,000 years, mushrooms have been used in traditional medicine all around the world. I would love to say only in Asia, but it's always been used as a natural form of remedy for many things. The thing is that in Asia, we have been documenting quite detailed the different types of mushrooms for thousands of years. And so we observed over 2,000 years ago a specific family of mushrooms, which is the shape of an ear. And you will know this name is called reishi in English. And this is really the group of medicinal mushrooms that grows on a tree. And for over 2,000 years ago, we observed, and it's recorded in the Chinese medical texts, that there are some medicinal mushrooms that have different shapes, and they can be used for different purposes, from menstrual cramps to headache to improving vitality and improving energy flow. So from the very beginning of recorded medicinal history, we have observed use and dose and different exploration of mushroom types. So about 1800 years ago, 2000 years ago, there was a specific type of this mushroom which they called the Emperor's Reishi, or the Emperor's Big Red Mushroom. And it was supposed to be rumored that if you ate this mushroom, you could live to be 1,000 years old. And the mushroom itself was believed to be, very, very old as well. And I have to show you what it actually looks like, because you might be thinking of the little button mushrooms you had in your omelet or something this morning, but we're really talking about something that looks like this. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's a big fan shape like this. And let me turn off my blur back button one second. Yeah, sorry, I can't do that. And then on the outside it grows on the outside of the tree like this. So imagine my head is the tree, then the mushroom grows on the side of the tree like this.
Oh, there we go. Now we go.
And you can see it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so this is, my head is a tree, and the mushroom is growing off the side like that. And this one I'm holding right here, this is probably around $30,000 worth of mushroom in my hand. Because this is a big chunky piece. And when we see something to grow that big, it's old. It's at least several hundred years old. And that was the first clue. When the medicine man saw this mushroom, like, hey, this thing is growing on the side of a tree. Is it even a mushroom? What is it? Let's check it out. And they observed that these things, they're hard, like the bark of the tree, and they become resilient. Just like in the same way that the bark of the tree is very hard, you can tap it. The mushroom has the very same texture. It's almost like leather on the inside, very soft and like felt. But on the outside, it's hard and it's robust. It's very strong. You can feel it's very strong. You can't just scrape it with your fingernail. And so this mushroom can survive for thousands of years. And we have some in the lab that we have the oldest ever discovered wild Phalinus. The species of mushroom is called Phalinus. We have the oldest ever discovered Phalinus mushroom, which is about the size of a small cow, and that's in our lab. And it's over 1,000 years, 1,700 years old that we've dated. So we have a number of mushrooms that are thousands of years old, and that begs the question: how can something that's natural, that grows on the side of a tree in the face of the sun, how can it live for so long? And we look at the tree and we see that the mushroom has this perfect harmony, this symbiotic existence with the tree that it grows on. And the point of the fungus, why do we have, so bringing back to the first point, well, why do fungus even exist? It's because the fungus on Earth is the great recycler. It's the bin man. It's the guy who comes out every day, takes your bins out, so you can go back, get on with your life. When corpses, so when an animal dies and falls on the Earth, what happens to it? Fungi, spores, you can't see them, but they come out and they will start decomposing that corpse. It's not plants that do it, it's fungi. It's not the air that decomposes. Like without mushrooms, without fungi, the world would be filled with animal corpses millions of years ago. Nothing would be gone. And the reason is that the fungi are the ones that break down everything and release those nutrients into the soil for the trees to grow. So we have this phrase about when we die, we return to the earth. But we return to the earth with the help of fungi. We don't return to the earth without them. We are just on the earth forever. We're not going to go anywhere. So the fungi are what break down molecules and bring the nutrients of the decomposing body back into the earth. And that's what allows the fungi to have this really lovely relationship with the host where it lives. So in the case of mushrooms that you eat, those are grown very rapidly on very we'll call it insignificant substances like bread or just basic glucose, and those types of mushrooms grow very quickly and they don't really do any decomposing. But the fungi that we find in nature, because they have such a beneficial role, they are given by the host. So in the case of my mushroom, the Thundershrooms, little doodad, he's given a home on the side of a tree because what you can't see is his roots, the mushroom's roots, which are called the mycelium, they are like a lattice, they're like a spider web of roots that go into the tree and into the soil where the tree is growing. So the tree has the roots in the soil, but surrounding the tree's roots are the mushroom roots. The mushroom food that's in the soil from dead animals and everything, and the tree is using the mushroom roots as a straw to suck in all the nutrients and for the tree to get what it needs to live. So the tree and the mushroom are working together, and the mushroom helps to break down and bring the nutrients for the tree. And by doing so, the tree gives the mushroom a place to live, and the mushroom can live on the tree for thousands of years. So in order to do that, the mushroom develops these chemical properties that are natural to itself. And this is when we talk about the innate magnificence of nature. It's just that this mushroom wasn't told or wasn't instructed or didn't go to medical school or anything, but it was just learned innately what are the chemicals it must develop itself to protect itself from constant exposure to the sun, to protect itself from predators coming by and trying to peel a piece of it off it, to protect itself from aging and to live for as long as the tree that it can survive on. So these different chemical properties that exist in the thundershroom, these are the properties that help its own survival, that they help the mushroom to achieve its own immortality on the side of the tree that it belongs with. So when we use this mushroom and we harness it properly, these same properties can be used to benefit our own anti-aging efforts. These properties can help our own body to give the message, hey, let's survive forever along with the tree that's going to survive forever. So these same messages of protection and immortality they appear in chemical substances which we find in the mushroom, and we've been recording and observing how these chemicals can help humans to survive. And this study has really led mushrooms into the path of what we now call immunotherapy. And immunotherapy is simply where we are having an effect on the immune system by something we do or something we consume, and that effect should either help or hinder the immune system's performance. So Thundershrooms, the most powerful immunotherapy gift from nature, without a doubt. And when I say the most powerful immunotherapy gift, we're talking about people spend $50,000 to fly to some clinic in Switzerland or Germany to get stem cell shots. They pay $10,000 for a shot of 1 million stem cells that are told are going to become new healthy immune cells for them to fight their cancer, or for them to fight aging, or to fight their injury, whatever is their reason for having the stem cells. They fly all the way there, pay all this money, get jabbed with 1 million stem cells, and guess what? Within 8 minutes, the half-life for those stem cells is gone. They are burning up faster than you could shake a stick at. They are transplanted stem cells. They are not something that your body's made naturally. And anytime you bring in something that's synthetic or unnatural, your body rejects it. First of all, your body kicks it out and rejects it. Hang on, this is synthetic. I don't want this. It's the same thing if you talk about synthetic estrogen. And there was back in the 1980s and 90s, they used to jab women with this thing called Premarin, horse estrogen, as a means for treating menopause and hormonal imbalances. And then the doctors they're shocked. Hey, the horse estrogen isn't working. It's making the women on horses even worse. Right, surprise, surprise. The synthetic doesn't work. The same thing with stem cells. You fly all the way to Baden-Baden, go to the hills of Bavaria. Nice German doctor comes out with, very clean looking room and gives you the stem cells, and they're gone. Within 10 minutes, within an hour, let's say within an hour. Within 8 minutes they start to decay. Within an hour, half of the shot that you just paid a lot of money for is gone. And it's not taking root. And they say, yes, we don't expect all of the stem cells to uproot inside your body and to become healthy cells. We expect there to be a very high attrition. We expect that's what we expect. But we don't expect that, because when we eat the mushroom tells your body, hey, body, make some more stem cells. And when that message comes from the mushroom. The message comes from the mushroom, but the action that's performed by the message is an action done by your own body. That's the crucial difference between transplanted things in not just immunotherapy, but everything in health, with hormone balance, amino acids, anything that our body, antioxidants that our body is constantly generating itself. When we transplant them in, they're foreigners. So not only do we have a rejection of the foreign material, we have a rejection, but we also have a reaction from the rejection. So it's very common to have not only stem cells rejected, but then to have a negative immune response to the introduction of foreign stem cells. So when we talk about the mushroom, we talk about it's the most powerful immunotherapy gift because it tells your body, it gives the message to create two specific types of stem cells, which are called stem cells number 33 and 134. And these stem cells are the stem cells which then become in their life healthy blood cells. And these healthy blood cells, red blood cells and white blood cells, is what we need in our immune system. Our immune system is essentially just blood cells moving around the body, carrying nutrients inside the blood to do different things at different parts of our body that need the help. So when we have our body making its own stem cells naturally, then we call this is real immunotherapy. This is something that we don't hope to have, but we expect to have an effect from the body's natural immunotherapy. We don't expect to have results from transplanted therapy. And that's why there's all these disclaimers. They will tell you, blah, 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 wave off your expectation of any improvement, because it's a low chance that the things will uproot and start to, we don't just want them to uproot. When we have the message of telling your body to create new stem cells, that message is there. It's not just a one-time thing. It's there, and now your body starts to introduce the generation of stem cells back into its own normal cycles. So that's the main thing that we first
Oliver,
with.
So it's not like
Yes.
a one-hit wonder. It actually is getting the stem cell production back in working order in your body. And I would like you to also talk about this. There's 40 years of research proving that Thundershrooms are the strongest nutritional product on the planet for building immune system, and we know it. We have people that have been given life sentences every week, and they hear about us, and they start taking the Thundershrooms, the critical care, and guess what? There's no expiry date. That expiry date gets wiped out. Go ahead, Oliver.
Daryl, I always I'm always wary to say those types of stories because you never know what desperate situation people are going to be.
No. We're not talking about it. This is a cure. There's no cure.
Absolutely, yeah.
But when a person has faith in themselves, they haven't given up on their body. Okay.
Yes. Well, I was going to say, Daryl, even though I tend to not. I try not to, I'm always wary of people who might be in a different situation. But the truth is, we have had more than 60-70% of
There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees on anything in life. There's too many variables.
Absolutely.
That's it.
That's the key thing. There's too many variables in each person's situation.
Too many.
But I've seen way more than what was supposed to have been the last time to see people. I've seen them 7 years later. And, we see people with deathly Parkinson's that has been halted. We see infertility that after 6-7 months, pregnant. We see cancer, which is no hope, 4th stage, please go somewhere to die peacefully. Still having lunch with them 5 years later. All these things which we've been told are supposed to happen or do not happen. And the mushrooms really fly in the face of a lot of that. And so we do get a lot of these cases where...
but that's not what we want is a lot of these cases. It's better to be take the vital care Thundershrooms and never get into that position. And the reality is I want everybody to understand something. There are no cures. They're just looking after your body and giving your body back what it's given you all your life.
Yeah, I think that's a great message to focus on right now, which is that you said just now it's not a one-off, and when we put the mushrooms in, it's like a personal trainer. When you go and work with a trainer and he busts your butt in the gym every day, okay, even if you don't go to the gym for a week, you still have that thermogenic effect of that muscle that's been built up and it's been trained. He didn't just jab you with a hunger suppressant for 2 days and make you stop eating like Ozempic or, everyone's just shooting themselves with that stuff now. That's forceful, that's transplanted effect. But when you actually do the effort and train your body or use a trainer to teach your body how to really do the thing, then your body learns internally. And it's the same way with the mushroom. We're not just taking a pill and letting the pill do the work. We're putting the trainer inside our body and say, hey, you, B cells, I need you working harder. T cells, I need you over there. Macrophage, you see this dude? Go eat that. Go eat that macrophage. Go over there and be busy over there. You over there, you're supposed to be, it's the busy manager who comes in when all the workers are kind of slacking.
Yeah, the sergeant general. The sergeant general.
The sergeant general, the foreman, he's the senior in the class, and he puts everyone back in their place. So, to your second point there, which is really, we got to catch people now. And that's why we brought, so the reality is that when people come to us with the 4 stages, we need to give them more than just VitaLife and critical care. And that needs to be done in Thailand because that dose they need to take is so intense that if they're not doing, let's say, mega dose plus a whole wolf cleansing protocol, they need to take a very mega dose. But why are we bringing the critical care and the VitaLife to the rest of the world now? Is that 90% of these cases can be prevented many years prior. We can't only focus on putting out the fires of the buildings that are already 90% burned down. We need to really tell people, hey, don't leave your stove. What do we do to prevent things from happening?
Yeah, and if I can say this, Oliver, we're not teaching that. We're not teaching emergency care here. We're teaching prevention. Emergency care will get you into trouble because you'll be accused of just taking the last of their money because they've been everywhere else. That you're making false promises. You want to be working with people that are well, want to stay well, or that people that are getting just messages from their body that they're not in alignment, not that they're coming off a cliff.
I think that's what a lot of value we bring down to people is to really encourage them to listen to themselves, because it's a great shame that we are given this amazingly complex, immortally powerful body talk system, but we tell it to shut up and go to pay a doctor for him to tell us what my body is trying to tell me for free. So we shut him down, we shut down the inner voice, go somewhere to pay someone money to tell him something which is wrong, because there's no way he can know what our inner voice is telling us from external observation. So he's very likely going to be wrong or not 100% accurate. So we did that to ourselves, and we continue to do it to ourselves. But we also have the ability to undo that to ourselves. And with the things like Thundershrooms and conscious living and changes to our behavior, we have tools to undo the damage from the false messages that we've heard before. And I say that we bring the VitaLife and the critical care now to the rest of the world because this is so much of what we face with the difficult situations can be prevented. Not only there's a small chance maybe you could prevent Alzheimer's. No, we know right now, even if you have the gene for Alzheimer's, it's triggered by amyloid buildup of plaque caused from sugar. We know that there is a dietary link between sugar and Alzheimer's. Even if you have a genetic marker for it, that's not your sentence. That's just a likelihood. But your sentence is not that. Your sentence is whatever you choose it to be. So, body talk, listening to what the body is trying to tell us, and then giving our bodies what it really needs. Giving our bodies nutrients, not pleasure from food. A burger is not a nutrient, but proteins and amino acids, and these are nutrients which our body needs in the right amounts. And so when we live for ourselves as we're intended to, we don't live for the pleasures or for the moments that we're told to chase, then we can see that actually our body is telling us a lot of things. And our body has this amazing potential to heal itself. And I'll quickly segue in on the story of my own mother, the reason we discovered these mushrooms was when she was laid low after nose cancer, and she had radiation and chemotherapy, which basically destroyed her immune system to, the doctor said, hey, if your blood cells don't increase in the next few checkups, you could die. Your white blood cells, they zap them with chemotherapy. They just drop a nuclear bomb, right? It's the same thing as like, if you were to go to a war-torn country, which is constantly between the rebels and the corrupt government and are constantly at war, right? What happens if you just go and drop a bomb? You go and, like, American foreign policy in the 1970s, just go and bomb some third world country and see who grows back faster. Is it the terrorists or is it the defunct government? Obviously, the terrorists are going to grow back faster. They're more incentive about life, they're more organized. Defunct government, no chance. It's the same thing with our body. When we drop the bomb with chemotherapy, and then the oncologist says, hey, you're done. We've finished your cycles. Congratulations, you've completed your nuclear bombing. Well, now what? Who's going to grow back faster? Where's my government? You're going to put keepers in here or what? You're going to just let the warlords, so this is like Afghanistan in the early 2000s all over again. So your body after chemotherapy. And the mushrooms at that time is when my mother was really struggling, and she wasted away. She was like very thin, very frail. A strong wind could blow her over, and we were looking for a way to get her immune system back on track. And we found these mushrooms, and I read the research. I went. Daryl said not only 40 years. I'm talking 40 years of just our brand. We've got 200 years of this specific species and 2,000 years of mushrooms in general. So 40 years of just our specific extract, and then 20 years of our specific formula, the exact formula that goes into Thundershrooms. So even today, if you read about medicinal mushrooms, you will read, if you go to the very bottom of where these studies are done, who's paid for this, who's given the mushrooms for these studies, it's my company in Thailand. We are probably the biggest group of researchers between Japan, Korea, China, and Thailand, which has thousands of papers collectively about this extract is good for this extract is. So the details. We know that research is what I first discovered when my mother was sick. I said, whoa, this research says that the immune cells double, triple, 5 times overnight after consuming this mushroom. What is this mushroom? I better fly to Thailand and find out. So I flew to Bangkok. And I found out all about the mushroom. They were having a press conference at the time. They'd flown in their professors from, they have a joint venture with Japanese and Korean professors and Hong Kong as well. And these are all like leading preeminent professors, with a bibliography of 1,000 papers long each. And that research, which showed me just straight to my face that the immune system is just wrapped up naturally from this mushroom. So, okay, Mom, come over to Bangkok, let's get the mushroom. Got of the mushroom. And I'm not joking when I say that we had, I would say, following her chemotherapy and radiation, she spent 6 months in a wasted state where we were like, oh, is she going to actually turn around? What's going to happen here? And so maybe not 6 months, but 3-4 months, she was continuously just wasted. And no energy, no mood, no joy for life. And we got the mushrooms, and then within that same day, the very first day she took the mushroom, it was like 6:30 p.m. and she was talking. She was chit-chatting around the table where we tea, and all by 4 or 5 p.m. she's like, I'm done with this, I'm tired, I want she just fades off. 6 p.m. she's talking, 8 p.m. she's still talking, 10 p.m. like, who is this lady at the table, yip-yapping away? And she was going on and on. It's 10 p.m. Mom, you're not tired. You normally passed out by 5, 6 p.m. She's like, oh, look at this. Because she's normally firecracker. So next day, again, more energy came back. And we reckon she came back 30, 40, 50% in just the first week. From 4 months, no progress, to 50% after a few days with the mushroom. Just like, this is really happening. And so that really started my obsession. And then that got me to Thailand to work with the company and commit my career and to learning and really getting into these mushrooms. So that was my personal story, how I got there. But the point that I wanted to make was that I saw this immune boosting effect with my own eyes in my mother, who was laid low and then just sprang up out the bed the next day. And not just with her. Then when we started working with more clients, I had a very serious ALS client who came in. They said he was weeks away from the end. It was degenerating so quickly. And we got him in, and we just saw that it stopped degenerating. The ALS stopped getting worse. And that might not be healing, but for someone who's crashing, whose plane is diving down, to make the plane stop crashing is good. It's a big deal. And we were able to help him for quite a while. So to see these things in my own eyes, which is that we can take strong action, especially when we combine it with the protocols. And that's why when I met Daryl, I said, these need to join together. We do this. My family, we do most of the things that we talk about in BraveHeart Nation. We've been doing them from my mother's lesson. We've started adopting them all, fasting, coffee, enemas, overeating, all these things that we learn and we focus on in BraveHeart Nation, self-love, a lot of spiritual work, mental work. And these go so well together with the Thundershrooms. So when I met Daryl, I said, Daryl, there's a very good match here. And he immediately got it. He immediately saw how powerful the connection between combining the lifestyle and the nature's most powerful immune supplement can be. And we use them really for, I'd say prevention is now the main aim for everyone, because with conscious living and prevention, I'm not even so crazy about the fact that we can turn people around from their critical state. That's great and everything, but the bigger impact really is that we can address people now who are all, as I see you in front of me, in a state of health enough that you can come to this workshop and learn. And that's as good as you need to be. Like, as good as you need to be, you're alive today now. You start taking action with lifestyle and supplements. Preventive effect can be, we never need to get to that critical stage. Most of the people who are using them, we see coming with either cancer or autoimmune diseases or signs of wear and tear beyond their years. So we see a lot of people coming in looking 60, but they're 40. And this is not necessarily due to anything other than a very stressful corporate life. In Bangkok, we see a lot of people from around Asia, a lot of office people, and they come in with a health, internal health 20 years beyond their age. We see 40-year-old men with the health of 60-year-olds, and it's due to really stress, lack of self-care, and just lifestyle choice which they did to themselves. And 70% of all of the diseases that we address today are linked with autoimmune disease, and 90% are linked or identifiable as an autoimmune disease, which means you did it to yourself. No one did it to you. You weren't born with it. It wasn't, genetics didn't give you a bad hand. You did it to yourself. I'm not blaming you, or I'm not you guys, of course. I'm not blaming the person, because by many expectations, society has done this to us. Society is the one that tells us, go out and eat McDonald's, and they normalize these things which make our decision-making very poor. But we can't blame society. We know whoever did it, whoever made us make those poor decisions, ultimately our body is the one that gave the autoimmune condition to itself. So we see most people who come to see us with the mushroom as they don't know they have an autoimmune condition. They say, oh, I've got lupus, yep, autoimmune. Oh, I've got diabetes, autoimmune. I've got Alzheimer's, neurodegeneration, autoimmune. ADHD, autoimmune. Autism, ADHD, autoimmune. Everything we know now is 90% is autoimmune, and it is due to the fact that your immune system doesn't know how to deal with stress. Your immune system hasn't been properly trained, hasn't been put through basic training under live combat stress tactics, and so when you actually face the stress, your immune system freaks out. And the really scary thing is that something as simple as a fast food meal at the wrong age can be an immunological stress. You can eat simply the wrong thing at the wrong age when you've been walked down, and that can trigger a lifelong allergy, which can trigger a chronic autoimmune condition, which now means your body is forever freaking out every time you eat gluten, because you had that pizza at age 37 when you were in a weak state. It happens, and we do it to ourselves. So when we bring the mushroom into the pit, what we do is we teach the immune system how to not be so frantic how to calm down and how to deal with the immune threats in the right way. And the main way to do that is we have the science of the mushroom, how it works in your body is break it down in this. We have two schools in our body. One is pro-inflammatory, the other is anti-inflammatory. Anytime our body has an immune threat, the body is going to deal with that in either pro or anti-inflammatory method. It's very important to remember that they're both beneficial. When we have a mosquito bite and the mosquito's blood comes into our blood, the body makes a swelling, and that's inflammation. That's a barrier. It's a physical blocking of the mosquito's nasty whatever going into our blood. So that's where inflammation is a very important part of our immune response. But excessive inflammation, or inflammation when there doesn't need to be, when there's not supposed to be, inflammation when you eat food, which is not supposed to be inflammation causing, that's due to your immune system freaking out. Your immune system is not handling stress well. It hasn't been trained well, it hasn't been taught what not to freak out about and how to freak out in the right way. And that's where the mushroom comes in. So when we see people with whatever is that condition, first thing you can see is, are they bloated? If they're bloated, you already know. Don't even need to go deep in the medical explanation. They're having bloating from autoimmune condition. Their immune system is not handling things well. So will they benefit from the mushroom? Absolutely. Hands down. Critical care or vital life, whichever one they can afford, because when they're bloating, that's the first sign you can see that their immune system is responding to normal, basic, everyday threats through excessive inflammation. When the body has excessive inflammation, if that's the baseline, everything else becomes critical. When the body is in a state of low-grade inflammation, then a very low state of cold or flu can become a high-grade threat. So when we keep our body in a state of constant low-grade inflammation, we are always susceptible to bigger risks, and we are susceptible to small problems building up together to become big problems. Tumors don't become cancer in a healthy body. Tumors stay tumors unless they're woken up and activated by immunological stress. So growths and these things happen, but they don't become critical unless our immune system's response is flagrant, and unless the immune system is freaking out and panicking. So when the immune system is calm, these threats don't build up. The wear and tear of aging doesn't accumulate. I just turned 38 2 weeks ago, and many of my professors who are in the mushroom, they're 70s, 80s, and they're putting up papers and they're walking around speaking at dinners like they're in their 40s. You would just have no idea that there's any difference in age between a lot of these professors with the mushrooms and memories. We see that the body, if we can get the body to maintain a very low stress state of immunological response, that's the key. That's it. That's the one thing we can do that will reduce health risk from 90% of conditions in the future, whether they're autoimmune, age-related, and by age-related, I specifically mean organ health, especially if you've been drinking, you had a lifelong of sugary foods and breads, you probably have fatty alcohol-like liver disease, wear and tear, cirrhosis, fibrosis, and all of these things are just wear and tear beyond our time, but they're all reversible. They can all be slowed down, they can all be reversed. And so we just try to use the mushroom as the first call of action to fix the immunological response. Because when we fix the immunological response, we fix the balance between the pro-inflammatory and the anti-inflammatory, then the immune system can function properly. The last metaphor I love to think about is like the inflammatory immune response. That's like your police force. Those are your patrolmen. And your anti-inflammatory, that's your special forces, your SWAT team. And so normally your police are patrolling and they do the day-to-day stuff. They do the mosquito bites, they do the scratches, they do the bruises and the basic stuff that your immune system comes into contact with. But over time, the police, they get corrupt, they get lazy, they start chasing down innocent people for no reason, they start attacking innocent ladies instead of the guy who's robbing them because they get a little bit wonky over time. And this is what happens with the inflammatory immune system. The inflammatory immune system gets wonky. It gets overly triggered by constant exposure in modern life to plastics, junk food to stress to social media, like our inflammatory immune response is so jacked up all the time that our anti-inflammatory immune response has no chance. So the special forces, the anti-inflammatory system, they get no budget. They're sitting in the back room, no weapons, no truck. Eventually the corrupt police take their funding, they take all their nutrients, they take their bullets. And so when cancer comes, they say, hey, call the special forces, because we know the police doesn't do cancer. We have the anti-inflammatory immune system, the special forces. They're here for this purpose. Send them in. Sorry, mate, no truck. Oh, okay, well, send them on foot. No shoes. Okay, well, we made it without shoes. Now what to do? Shoot them. No bullets, sir. This is what's happened to your body. And we stripped our body of that power by overstoking the inflammatory immune system. And how do we overstoke that? Just by living a modern life. The inflammatory input we have every day from UV light or from cigarette smoke or from some angry driver who overtook me, all these things that create inflammation. They're little microaggressions, if you will, against your body, and they add up and they add up, and then eventually they take away the power from your most powerful immune system, the T2, the anti-inflammatory, the sleeping immunity that's given to you at birth. Another thing, this powerful immunity, it's given to you 100% from your mother in the umbilical cord. It's not something you have to figure out. That's what you figure out as a baby. The inflammatory immune system is what you figure out when you're alive. So when you're very weak, you have to get some exposure to germs, and your body develops the resistances. That's your inflammatory immune response. It's learning these things. But your anti-inflammatory immune response, your innate one, has been given to you the full blueprint, your body can fight cancer, can fight aging and Alzheimer's, all these things your body knows how to do it. From where? From birth. Your mother was given those instructions into the umbilical cord. That's it, done. So how do we unlearn that? Why did we suddenly lose the ability to do these things we were born with? Well, we lived a life that was dominated by the inflammatory. And that's how we lose this ultimate healing potential. So the point of the mushroom, again, so bring it back to the actual mushroom. What does the mushroom do? The compounds inside the mushroom are specifically about that anti-inflammatory immune response. Now, this is very important. Every mushroom is different. Every species of mushroom creates a different specific immune response in your body. In the same way that, let's consider each mushroom a different type of personal trainer. One guy is a big power lifter, one guy's a pull-ups guy, one guy's a sprints workout guy, one guy's a upper size, right? So they're all different specialists. And you need someone to get you ready for the bodybuilding competition, but they sent you the upper size instructor. It's not really helpful. I'm training for an Olympic lifting, and you sent me to the pool to learn with the seniors, and this is not going to get me anywhere. And this is the problem with mushrooms, with medicinal mushrooms, because don't mean this in any offensive way, but outside of Asia, they're not regulated in any type of way. And not to say regulated, but appreciated or understood in the right way. So just right now, I can open Google right now, and I'll just Google medicinal mushroom. The first 10 items I will see will be what? Blends of 6 unrelated mushrooms that shouldn't be together, blended together, mycelium made from the roots of the mushroom, so not the actual mushroom, but just like the growing substance of the mushroom, and then put them all in a bottle, $19.99 on iHerb. Knock yourself out. What's the point? What's the point of that when I'm training for, not only am I training for an Olympic weightlifting, someone's put a gun to my head and said, if you don't win this Olympic weightlifting, you're dead. So it's the same thing with cancer. If I don't get the right immune help right now, I'm dead. And they've sent me to the upper size instructor when I need to win the powerlifting to save my life. Are you kidding me? This is medicinal mushrooms. This is people giving all kinds of the wrong things for the wrong reasons. And Thundershrooms, we are so specific about this species of mushroom. Why don't you see this species? Why haven't you seen it? You can go on our website right now. You'll see chaga and cordyceps, and why not Phalanx? Why can't you find it? Because the people who know its value, they're not selling it to you. They don't want it sold overseas. They want it in Korea. This is paid for by insurance. You can go to a hospital in Korea, get mushroom medication for your cancer. It's covered by the insurance companies. Same thing in Japan, because this is a proper, appreciated medicine. And so we talk about using the right trainer for the right disease, for the right competition. Thundershrooms is the one for immune health. Now, we also do, we make cordyceps mushrooms, we do, and they help with focus, they help with mental clarity, but the life-changing effect of getting someone to feel like they're more productive for 20 minutes versus curing cancer, we focus on the thundershrooms. We don't really focus so much on the cordyceps because it doesn't deliver the same high impact change. And even not talking about cancer, but just any health issue, because it's so closely linked with immune response, the bang for your buck, there's no point to go anywhere else other than thundershrooms as far as mushrooms are concerned. Because when we fix the immune system, we fix all the messaging inside. And when the messaging is fixed, the body can do what it's supposed to do. When I said about the foreman before, who comes in and fixes up the factory, you're given the instructions. Your body knows what to do. But we interrupt those instructions and we interfere. And we put junk food and we put junk crap, and these are the things that interrupt with these signals and interrupt with the body's ability to do its job as its best can do. So the mushroom will teach it how to do its job again, and behavioral change. This is where we see the real magic. Because in Thailand, I have to admit, a lot of the clients we see, they're not committed in the same way that BraveHeart Nation people are. Many of them are office workers, they got drivers, and they live in a good life, they got personal chef and all this, and they say, hey, you know what, I come to find you for the mushroom because I want to enjoy my good life a bit longer. I don't want to give up my good life. I've got the joys of life, right? And it's hard to explain to them, that, well, you would be able to live a lot longer if you stop doing the things which are killing yourself, as well as taking the mushroom, versus just taking the mushroom alone. But for many of them, they're not interested. They'd rather just, if you tell a person to quit smoking to save their life, they say, I'd rather have the cigarettes and lose 3 years. Many of them will tell you that. But the great thing with BraveHeart Nation is that we see this magic combination between a preventive dose and active effort from the people who are making it. So if we compare this to just someone who continues their stupid, unhealthy diet, their very unhealthy lifestyle, but they add the thundershrooms, yes, it will have effect. Of course it will. But what if you also change the toxic input? You exponentially improve the results of the thundershrooms. So whether it's practitioners or friends you want to share this with, when they're ready to also take personal action, massive action, the more massive, the more you're going to save, because you will get more benefit from less stuff. I just did a fast a few weeks ago, and man, the effect on my mushrooms when I was doing the fast was like taking a four times dose, because my body was clean. The mushrooms didn't have to work through 6 days of old junk to then get into the bloodstream or to have its full effect. When my body was cleaned out from the fast, on the second or third day, man, those things they're hitting. And so when you imagine the mushroom brings the message into the body to tell the body to make more stem cells, to make more healthy cells. And that message is heard so much louder and so much clearer when it's not interfered with the junk. So action point would be when we combine the thundershrooms with massive personal action, whether it's dietary change, behavioral change, self-love, and really internal peace of your mind, the effect is tremendous. It's much more than just taking the mushrooms by themselves, or even just taking behavioral stuff by itself. You go further. So that would be the one thing really important. I think high value action is to combine the thundershrooms with the protocols that we learn in BraveHeart Nation, and that gets the best results by far. So I think that's probably the key things with the inflammatory and the anti-inflammatory immune system. I think we're born with all the tools we have. No one's born with a cancer sentence, no one is born with autism sentence, no one is born, even someone is born with a genetic brain issue, that doesn't need to be expressed in childhood. It can be muted, those effects of the genetic defect can be
reversed,
not expressed so clearly.
Yeah.
And we can do this with a lot of things we learn in BraveHeart Nation, and the mushroom is the chemical, the agent to really give the instruction for your body to how to live its maximum immune potential. So remember that it's nature's immunotherapy gift. The most powerful, potent way to help your human immune system is with this specific Thundershroom. Yeah, I think that's most of the... Sorry, one more thing, just to... we have done with Critical Care and Vital Life. Critical Care is the one for people who are in the shit. Sorry, when people who are on fire, they need Critical Care. If your house is on fire, sorry. But if you're in it, you need to, what do you say about the 50-foot hole? Right?
Well, if you've got a 15-foot hole, getting a 5-foot ladder and climbing it 3 times doesn't get you out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for most people, they don't realize they're in a much bigger hole than they think they are. You know, they look in the mirror like, hey, I look pretty good. Still standing on 2 legs, pretty healthy. Yeah, what's going on inside me? Like, come on, come on now. And people know, they know that, I'm gonna go out and have like 6 beers and my burger and chips with my mates tonight. And they go home and they feel awful that night. They think to themselves like, my God, even 3 years ago when I did this, I didn't feel like death. This really is not good. This is not the same as I felt 3 years ago. But what do they do the next weekend? They do it again. And after 5 years, they've been doing it for 5 years when it's been uncomfortable. So that first time they did it and it was uncomfortable, their body's already thrown in the towel. All right, enough. This is not right for you anymore. But they just keep doing it. So they don't realize they're in a 15-foot hole, and they keep going on more, and then 15 becomes a 20-foot hole, and then they come to us and say, all right, I'd like to buy the Vital Life, please, 1 bottle. Okay, what are you doing for your, how about your diet, what are the efforts you make, what are the action? Just give me the Vital Life. And so, you have to really temper your expectations and what we can hope to achieve by people depending on how much effort they put in. But as a starting point, for most people who are in it, they need to go for the Critical Care right away, versus most people who are in a comfortable state of health, the Vital Life is the preventive one. So you just start on the Vital Life and you stay on that one, and hopefully you never need to, when you get older, you can go to Critical Care as well for anti-aging. I take 2 of the Vital Life and 1 of the Critical Care every day. Sorry, in Thailand, the Vital Life is half the size as what you guys have. So I take the equivalent of 1 Vital Life and 1 critical care every day, just for anti-aging. And when I'm going through traveling, when I'm traveling overseas or sleeping late, or when I'm going to a party or a wedding or something like that, and I'm going to be up, I will take extra critical care and extra Vital Life. I'll usually double or even triple. If I feel a cold coming on, I'm 4 times in for 2 days before, and as a way to get my immune system, it's just like you've got a competition. Quick, call the trainer for 1 last session, pump it up. Right, and that's when I use the Thundershrooms on a more discretionary basis. But for most of you, you're looking great health. A preventive dose would be totally fine. So, thank you very much, and I welcome any questions, or Darryl, if you have any questions, and I'm around for 10 minutes.
Well, thank you. Wasn't that great, though? Seriously, wasn't that great? So, just so you know, we're going to be on the BraveHeart Nation app that we're actually getting built right now out of India. We're actually going to be trying to create like where people can go in and fill out a quiz, and it's interactive to find out where they stand. And we're also going to be doing a show. Can you move that over more? He's getting cut off now. Yep. We're also going to be doing a show on the Thundershrooms and bringing people on that have been taking the Thundershrooms, whether it's the Vital Care or Critical Care. Like next week, I want to come on with me, you, and Debbie with her dog, who's 13 years old. She was told 3 weeks ago to put him down, not to even take him home.
It was like 6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago. And where I want you to come on for the show and then explain everything. She'd like to hear that. Can we do that next week?
Yeah, next week. Yeah, can do that. Debbie's, how old is the dog?
The dog is 13.
14 and a half.
14 and a half. And guess what? The dog is 12 pounds, and she has him taking a Critical Care 4 times a day. And the dog now, believe it or not, okay, is jumping around. She said it, like a 6-year-old healthy dog, jumping around, barking, eating, and she was supposed to put him down 6 weeks ago.
I'm smiling because I know that's what's going to happen. The pet market has become like one of the biggest markets for us, almost by accident. I'm just looking for this thing to show you. Okay, I can't remember if you can see this on my phone. Sorry, you can't really see it on the phone. But he's an Australian guy. He studied in Australia. He practices in Singapore. He's a holistic vet in Singapore called Dr. John Polai. He's one of the only 2 in Asia that does. He's like you for animals. He doesn't believe in chemo and all this. He sells so much mushrooms to people for their pets. And the great thing is that the dose we need for cancer in humans for a dog that's 12 pounds is like 1/100th the cost. So you don't need to spend. So for cat critical care for that dog, of Debbie's dog, that would be like taking 40 a day for a human. You know what I mean? So that is.
I know, but wait till you see her dog. I mean, he looks like he's a 6-year-old puppy now. He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
His hair grew back. I mean,
He's got no tear stains.
He's got no tear stains. He looks unbelievable.
Yeah, that's amazing. And just think, if that can happen with a dog, it can happen with humans too. So people.
I know, but the dog is not as easy to program.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, everybody's programmed. Everybody else is programmed that, you know what? It's like this. You know, she knows the dog's not programmed, so let's put your dog down. She says, no, we're going home. And then, you know, if she says that about her boyfriend, she'll probably put him down. I don't know.
It's like that though. I'm like the dog. When a dog is sick, it will stop eating, right? When animals are sick in nature, they fast. They know, hey, something's wrong. Got to get something out. They just stop eating. It's their innate natural wisdom. Something from the stars has told them, I need a break from putting stuff in our body. Who doesn't take a break? It's humans, modern humans. Consume, just locust the world, blanket the world in your consumption of non-stop everything, and when your body says, I'm dying, I'm just stressed, I'm dying under the stress of constant consumption, it's programmed not to be heard, right? But the dog is not. The dog is heard. When the dog is sick, the dog listens to itself and fasts. When the dog is given a mushroom, the dog's immune system reaches its maximum potential. There's nothing that tells the dog's immune system to stop doing that, to have another McDonald's or something. So that's why dogs can get the full effect.
Yeah, they go by emotion. They don't go by the vet saying, well, put him down. Like, he didn't crap his pants. He just know he went home.
Yeah.
I
love that story. That'll be great. That'll be really great to see Debbie and the dog.
Well, give me a call. Yeah. Give me a call later. I'll be finished in about 4 hours, or tomorrow, and we'll plan on what? 2 hours. I'll be done.
Yeah.
I'll be done in 2 hours.
Unless we're staying till 8 o'clock.
I don't know what time it is.
Okay, cool, great.
Yeah. So give me a call and we'll book with her, okay? And does anybody? Yes, okay. Go ahead, Andrea. But if you're going to ask questions, come sit in the chair, okay?
Okay, I'll move.
No, here's the chair. You can have a chair too. We have lots of chairs.
Here.
Right there. But yeah.
The computer, he'll hear you.
Oh. Hi, Oliver. I was wanting to know. Hi. The Latin name of the mushroom and the spelling, please.
Oh yes, Phellinus. Phellinus.
Okay.
Phellinus.
That's it.
PH, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay, and that's the group of mushrooms, yeah.
Okay. Sue wants to ask a question, and let me tell you something. You don't want to cut her off, because listen, nobody messes with Sue. You ever hear that Johnny Cash song? Okay, go ahead.
G'day, Oliver. How are you going?
Thanks.
Can we read all your research online?
It's all on Thundershrooms.
Yes, you
I
can.
thought so, yeah.
Yeah, it's all on Thundershrooms
All
on
right.
Doctorate Detox if you
Okay.
go there.
That's all I want.
Yeah,
And there's
Thank you.
Yeah, there's quite a bunch of stuff on the Thundershoom site as well.
Thank you.
yeah. And Oliver, take a look at it and then let me know if Gaston needs to put any new stuff up, please.
Probably been a few updates. I need to check with him now. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And he's got to go, so.
Oh, okay. Hi, Oliver. I'm Heather. Hi. Just asking about.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Just asking about how long would it take to help my sons with Fragile X syndrome and autism? They're 24 and 21.
How old is he?
24 and 21.
How old is he?
One's 24, one's 21.
Okay.
Quite
it would
overweight.
be. Yeah, it'd be quite. Okay. When I know more about their case, I would say if they're that age, and that weight, I would really make that the number one thing is to really change the diet and
I know.
remove inflammatory input.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, I know
it's
there's
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not even like a preference thing at this point. If it's this age, it's almost like it's quite a critical thing to do it. So don't let behavioral norms like, oh, it's a birthday cake. No, like this is life and death, and have health.
I know.
So I would say try the path of really difficult, not difficult, but pretty serious nutritional change of what's going in, and then start them on the Vital Life because it's going to be a long process. Some of the issues we see, they are more front-footed, which are things that took less time to develop. We can treat them with shorter treatment. So a few months, but something that's 20.
I don't think about yesterday or tomorrow. But I just want to know what ones would be best, like the Vital Life or the Critical Care or both.
He said to start off with the Vital Life
Okay.
because it's going to take time to reprogram.
Yeah, I know,
And you don't want to run out of money before you change the program.
yeah. Okay, I'll start with that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because and the lesson is really like to just have the Thundershrooms without changing the input is going to be a waste of effort
I know.
and resources.
Yeah, I've got to do a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about the Thundershrooms.
No, they're tough.
You can blow them up. An inflammatory mind and diet will destroy everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe
Thank
you
you.
get still 10% of the benefit, but it's very
Yeah. Well,
okay.
basically,
Good one. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Have a beauty. Thank you, my friend. And thanks for joining us, everyone. If you want to join us next week, we'll have Debbie on plus Oliver, and he'll explain more to Debbie what happened and what the mechanism was that turned her dog around. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. All right. And listen, it's not too late if you want to come and join us in Australia for the Wolf Non-Surgical and for the pelvic course. Right, everyone?
Yeah.
And if not, we'll see you in Bonita. Go to braveheartnation.com. And if you want to know more about the Thundershrooms, go to docadetox.com. Take care.
Check out the store.